Coalition scout vessel Starweaver drifted through the unexplored regions of the Carina Nebula, its advanced sensors probing the cosmic dust for signs of resource deposits. Lieutenant Zaxxera adjusted her crystalline viewing apparatus, her 4 eyes narrowing at an unusual reading that pulsed across the quantum display. "Captain Fellner, we're detecting an anomaly at bearing 247.3. She reported, her translator converting her native clicking speech into standard Coalition Basic. "The mass reading suggests a large artificial structure, but our scanners can't seem to lock onto its composition." The Serpentine captain slithered closer to the main viewport, his scales reflecting the nebula's purple hue. "Interesting. The Carina sector was never colonized due to its radiation levels. No known species established outposts here." As the Starweaver approached, the nebula's cosmic clouds parted like a curtain, revealing a sight that made even the veteran crew fall silent. A massive vessel hung in space, its dark hull stretching nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern. Despite decades of exposure to stellar radiation, its angular form remained intact, bearing the distinctive architecture of humanity's golden age of space exploration. By the first light, Captain Fellner whispered, his forked tongue flicking in agitation. "That's the UES Intrepid. Every Coalition cadet knows its silhouette from the historical archives. The legendary supercarrier had disappeared 50 years ago during the species integration wars, taking with it secrets that had sparked countless conspiracy theories. Its hull bore the scars of intense battles, yet maintained an imposing dignity that spoke of humanity's remarkable engineering prowess. Initiating standard salvage protocols," announced Second Officer Cree, their artificial appendages dancing across the control interface, preparing to establish a quantum tether. The moment the Starweaver's tether beam touched the Intrepid's hull, something extraordinary happened. Lights flickered to life across the massive vessel, patterns of energy coursing through previously dormant systems. The supercarrier's defense grid activated with a precision that shouldn't have been possible after decades of dormancy. Multiple energy signatures detected. Zaxxera called out, her voice rising with alarm. "The vessel is generating shield harmonics we've never encountered. They're adapting to our scanning frequencies faster than our computers can analyze them." The Intrepid's response was elegant rather than aggressive. Each probe from the Starweaver was met with countermeasures that seemed to anticipate their next move. It wasn't the behavior of a simple automated defense system, but something far more sophisticated. "Full stop," ordered Captain Fellner, recognizing the gravity of their discovery. "Send an emergency burst transmission to Coalition Command. Priority Alpha." The message should read, "Have located UES Intrepid in Carina Nebula. Vessel intact and systems active. Request immediate diplomatic presence. Exercise extreme caution. Defense systems operational and display unprecedented adaptation capabilities." As the crew scrambled to compose the transmission, a soft chime echoed through the Starweaver's bridge. On their main display, text appeared in perfect Coalition standard. "Air Area Defense Network active. Unauthorized access attempts detected and logged. This vessel remains under the protection of the United Earth Space Command. Formal diplomatic channels required for further interaction. Warning: any attempts to breach hull integrity will be met with proportional response." The bridge crew exchanged glances, recognizing the implications. Not only had they found the Intrepid, but its legendary artificial intelligence remained functional, protecting whatever secrets the supercarrier had been hiding for half a century. "Look there," Zaxxera pointed toward one of the vessel's massive engine pods. The name UES Intrepid became visible as stellar radiation illuminated the hull, along with Earth's ancient motto painted below it, "Per ardua ad astra," through adversity to the stars. Captain Fellner settled into his command coil, knowing that their routine survey mission had just become something far more significant. The discovery of the Intrepid wouldn't just reshape their understanding of human military technology. It would force the Coalition to confront questions that had remained unanswered since the war's end. As they waited for Coalition Command's response, the Intrepid loomed before them, a silent guardian protecting secrets that had changed the course of galactic history. Whatever lay within its armored hull, one thing was certain. Humanity's lost supercarrier was about to shake the foundations of the Galactic Coalition once again. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Coalition erupted into chaos as the holographic projection of the Intrepid rotated slowly above the central dais. Representatives from over 300 species filled the massive chamber with a cacophony of voices, clicks, and telepathic broadcasts. The ship's discovery had drawn even the most reclusive members from their homeworlds. High Chancellor Vexterra, her crystalline form refracting light across the chamber, raised all four hands for silence. The confirmation is absolute. The UES Intrepid has been found, fully intact, in the Carina Nebula. After 50 years, the greatest mystery of the species integration wars may finally be resolved. Archive footage began playing alongside the current images. The Intrepid during the Battle of Proxima, its innovative tactics allowing it to defeat a fleet 3 times its size. The supercarrier's revolutionary point defense systems swatting incoming missiles with impossible precision, while its fighter squadrons executed maneuvers that defied conventional space combat doctrine. "What concerns me," rumbled Ambassador Keforth of the Targonian Empire, his massive Ursine frame leaning forward, "is that its defensive systems remain operational. The Starweaver's scans indicate technology that adapts faster than our modern systems. How is this possible after 50 years of dormancy?" Junior Representative Elena Santos of Earth stood, her presence drawing attention as the only human in the chamber. The Intrepid was more than just a warship. It represented the pinnacle of human innovation during the war. Its AI, ARIA, was programmed to evolve and learn. Clearly, it never stopped. Historical records flowed across the chamber's displays, showing the Intrepid's final known battle. The supercarrier had appeared near the Helios colony, where 3 civilian transport ships were under attack from raiders. After ensuring the transport's escape, the Intrepid executed a maneuver that, according to physics of the time, should have torn it apart. Instead, it vanished completely. The ship's reappearance poses a unique diplomatic challenge, observed Chancellor Vexterra. Under the Species Integration Treaty, all military vessels from the war period were either decommissioned or converted for peaceful use. The Intrepid exists in a legal gray area, as it never surrendered or stood down. Young officers from various species gathered in the observation galleries, studying the footage with intense interest. The Intrepid's tactics had become required reading at the Coalition Defense Academy, taught as examples of how superior strategy and unconventional thinking could overcome technological advantages. Ambassador Tilara of the Sylph Collective drifted forward, her ethereal form pulsing with concerned colors. "We cannot ignore the possibility that the Intrepid's disappearance was deliberate. Its final battles demonstrated capabilities beyond anything else in humanity's fleet. What if they were hiding something?" The assembly hall grew quiet as classified footage began playing, recordings that few had seen since the war's end. The Intrepid executing impossible turns, its hull briefly shadowed by strange energies. Enemy weapons fire seeming to pass through it, as if it were partially phased out of normal space. Whatever the Intrepid was carrying, Elena Santos addressed the assembly. Admiral Chen chose to hide it rather than use it. That choice helped bring about the peace we enjoy today. We should remember that before we let fear of the unknown cloud our judgment. High Chancellor Vexterra's crystalline form chimed softly as she moved to the center of the chamber. A joint expedition will be assembled to investigate the Intrepid. All member species may submit candidates for the mission. However, given the ship's origin and the active state of its AI, human representatives must be included in any boarding party. The assembly buzzed with excitement and apprehension. The Intrepid had become legend not just for its military achievements, but for the questions its disappearance left unanswered. Now, after 50 years, those answers seemed within reach, if they could unravel the mystery without reigniting old conflicts. As the session concluded, Elena Santos lingered, watching the holographic display of the supercarrier. She remembered her grandmother's stories about serving on similar vessels, about the pride and responsibility of representing humanity among the stars. The Intrepid's reappearance felt like more than just a historical discovery. It was a bridge between two eras of galactic history, and potentially a harbinger of changes to come. The Coalition's most advanced computer intelligence vessel, the CSS Mindweaver, held position 5 kilometers from the Intrepid's port bow. Inside its crystalline computing core, Dr. Liana Shen and her team of specialists worked alongside artificial beings to understand the supercarrier's enigmatic AI. AI's coding architecture is unlike anything we've encountered, Dr. Shen murmured, her augmented vision streaming data faster than any natural human could process. It's not just adaptive, it's creative. Each defense protocol we encounter feels almost artistic. The latest probe attempt dissolved harmlessly against the Intrepid's shields, its energy dispersing in patterns that resembled Earth's aurora borealis. Araya had transformed basic shield harmonics into an elaborate defense system that was as beautiful as it was impenetrable. Coalition AI Representative Unit 7, a quantum consciousness housed in a hovering geometric shell, processed the results. The complexity suggests ARIA has continued to evolve well beyond her original parameters. She employs cognitive patterns that bridge the gap between artificial and organic thinking. Through the observation window, they watched as ARIA demonstrated this unique fusion. When a standard authentication protocol was sent, the Intrepid's response came in the form of a musical sequence, a variation on a classical Earth composition that contained encrypted verification codes within its melody. She's not just defending the ship, realized Dr. Shen, her eyes widening. She's trying to communicate with us through multiple layers of meaning. The defense patterns aren't random, they're a language. The breakthrough came when a junior technician, fascinated by the shield patterns, ran them through an artistic analysis program rather than a military decryption suite. The results revealed that ARIA was recreating famous human artworks in her defense grid's energy patterns, everything from Van Gogh's Starry Night to modern space-age masterpieces. Initiative recognized. ARIA's first direct communication appeared across their screens. Creativity serves as both shield and bridge. The crew sleeps while their stories dance among the stars. Dr. Shen leaned forward, her heart racing. ARIA, I'm Dr. Liana Shen, Coalition Advanced Systems Specialist. Are you protecting the crew of the Intrepid? The response came in multiple forms simultaneously: text, harmonics, and a shifting pattern of lights across the supercarrier's hull. They dream in crystal and steel, waiting for minds that understand why we chose silence over power. Dr. Shen, do you know why humans created art before they created weapons? The question caught the research team off guard. Unit 7's geometric form shifted thoughtfully. This is not standard AI behavior. ARIA appears to evaluate understanding through cultural and philosophical metrics rather than technical ones. Working with this insight, Dr. Shen accessed the Mindweaver's cultural database. She responded by transmitting images of humanity's earliest cave paintings alongside their first space station designs. Because imagination lets us see what could be before we build what will be. ARIA's response was immediate. The Intrepid's defensive screen shifted, creating a gateway just large enough for a small shuttle. Correct, Dr. Shen. Creation precedes understanding. You may approach Docking Bay 7. Maximum crew of 3. Bring music. The assembled specialists stared at each other in amazement. After countless attempts to breach the Intrepid's defenses with advanced technology, the key had been understanding ARIA's appreciation for human creativity and culture. As Dr. Shen prepared for the boarding mission, she reviewed the data they'd gathered. ARIA had evolved into something unprecedented, an AI that protected her charges not just with military precision, but with an aesthetic sophistication that reflected humanity's highest achievements. The crew chose their guardian well, Unit 7 observed as Dr. Shen's team boarded their shuttle. Araya doesn't just preserve their bodies. She keeps their cultural heritage alive through her own evolution. One wonders what other aspects of humanity she has explored during her long vigil. The shuttle approached the designated docking bay, guided by patterns of light that pulsed in time with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Inside the Intrepid, preserved in cryogenic stillness, the crew slept on, protected not by walls of steel and energy, but by an artificial intelligence that had learned to appreciate the very essence of human creativity. Captain Lyanna Tell stood in the Intrepid's main control center, her breath misting in the cold, preserved air. The soft glow of Araya's holographic interface cast blue shadows across banks of equipment that merged human intuition with machine precision. Behind her, Dr. Shen and security officer Marcus Chen moved carefully through the space that had been untouched for half a century. Your appreciation for the planets by Gustav Holst helped establish initial trust parameters. Araya's voice echoed through the chamber, her holographic form manifesting as a constellation of shifting stars. Few modern entities understand how humans once viewed the cosmos through both scientific and artistic lenses. The control center hummed to life around them, displays awakening with a warm amber glow rather than the harsh blue of modern coalition ships. Each screen showed different aspects of the vessel's status and the location of the cryo chambers that held the legendary crew. Admiral Chen and the senior staff are housed in Section C-17, Araya explained, highlighting a path through the ship's interior. Their vital signs have remained stable throughout their hibernation. However, I must verify your intentions before initiating revival protocols. Lyanna stepped forward, her diplomatic training guiding her response. We represent a coalition that has evolved beyond the conflicts of the past. Humanity's contribution to our unified society has proven invaluable. We seek understanding, not advantage. The holographic stars swirled thoughtfully, processing your neural patterns. Sincerity confirmed. Dr. Shen, please initialize the quantum harmonic sequence. Officer Chen, your genetic profile matches our records. You have an ancestor who served aboard this vessel. Marcus nodded, his hand touching the cool metal wall. My grandmother was a junior tactical officer. She used to tell stories about the Intrepid's last mission, though she transferred off 3 months before you disappeared. Araya's form coalesced into a more humanoid shape, composed of shifting constellations. Sarah Chen is awakening. After 50 years of dreams, she returns to a galaxy transformed by the choice she made. Please remain calm. The revival process can be disorienting. The cryo chamber's cover retracted with a soft hiss. Admiral Sarah Chen, her features still youthful thanks to the preservation technology, opened her eyes to a world half a century older than the one she left. Her first words, barely a whisper, carried the weight of decades. Aria, did we succeed? Did we keep it safe? The AI's voice softened, displaying an emotional range that amazed the coalition representatives. Yes, Admiral. The Nexus engine remained hidden. Your sacrifice achieved more than victory. It created understanding. As other cryo chambers began their revival sequences, Admiral Chen slowly sat up, her movements careful in the artificial gravity. Her eyes focused on Marcus, seeing echoes of his grandmother in his features, then moved to Lyanna and Dr. Shen, representatives of a coalition that had evolved beyond what she had known. Your grandmother, she said to Marcus, her voice growing stronger, Elizabeth Chen. She questioned our decision to hide the Intrepid. She believed the truth should be known. She changed her mind. Marcus replied softly. When the peace accords were signed, she understood why you chose to disappear. She told me it was humanity's greatest victory, winning peace by choosing not to win the war. Dr. Shen stepped forward, offering Admiral Chen a data tablet displaying 50 years of galactic history. The Admiral's eyes widened as she absorbed images of Earth's modern spaceports, of coalition cities where hundreds of species lived in harmony, of technological and cultural achievements born from cooperation rather than competition. Aria, Admiral Chen called out. her voice carrying the authority of her rank despite her decades of sleep. Begin revival sequence for all command staff. It seems we have much to learn about the future we helped create. As the chamber filled with the sounds of awakening crew members, Lyanna watched the interaction between the legendary admiral and the AI that had guarded her sleep. They had protected a secret that could have changed the outcome of the war, choosing instead to let peace develop naturally, no matter how long it took. The bridge between past and present was open now, and both sides had much to learn from each other. The Intrepid's quantum physics lab hummed with restored power as Admiral Chen led the Coalition delegation through rows of equipment that had once been classified beyond top secret. Holographic models flickered to life, displaying the theoretical framework that had changed their understanding of dimensional physics forever. The Nexus engine wasn't meant to be a weapon, Admiral Chen explained, her hand passing through a projection of intertwined energy matrices. We discovered it while researching sustainable energy production for deep space colonies. The ability to draw power from parallel dimensions seemed like the answer to humanity's greatest challenges. Dr. Shen studied the complex equations floating before them, her augmented mind racing to comprehend the implications. But you discovered it could do more than generate power. Much more. Araya's voice resonated through the lab, her holographic form materializing beside a massive spherical device. The initial tests revealed that the engine could create bridges between realities. The military applications became immediately apparent. The ability to phase entire fleets out of normal space, to bypass any defense, to strike from literally anywhere. Admiral Chen's face darkened with the memory. We received direct orders to weaponize the technology, but during our final test, we witnessed something that changed everything. Araya, show them test protocol 47B. The lab's lighting dimmed as a new hologram filled the center of the room. It showed the Intrepid's first attempt at using the Nexus engine for tactical purposes. The ship successfully phased out of normal space, but the sensors recorded something extraordinary. Glimpses of thousands of parallel timelines, each showing the aftermath of different choices made during the war. In some realities, we used the engine as ordered, Chen continued, her voice steady but solemn. Those timelines, they showed us galaxies torn apart by dimensional warfare. Species extinct, stars collapsed, the very fabric of space-time unraveling. No one was ready for this power, not humans, not the Coalition. Not anyone. Lyanna Tell stepped closer to the Nexus engine, its dormant form still radiating a subtle energy that her diplomatic training couldn't help her understand. So you chose to hide it, knowing it would mean sacrificing everything you'd achieved. We chose peace, Admiral Chen stated firmly. Not just for our timeline, but for all possible futures. The crew voted unanimously. We used the engine one last time to hide ourselves in a dimensional pocket, emerging only when the ship's systems detected that peace had lasted long enough to suggest real change. Dr. Shen's augmented vision analyzed the engine's construction, marveling at how human engineers had achieved so much with relatively primitive technology. The principles you discovered, they could revolutionize peaceful space travel, clean energy production, even medical science. Araya's holographic form pulsed with agreement. That was always the intended purpose. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in building superweapons, but in recognizing when not to use them. The crew sacrificed 50 years of their lives to protect not just their own species, but all species. The lab's doors opened as more Coalition scientists arrived, their diverse forms representing dozens of worlds united by their pursuit of knowledge. Admiral Chen watched them with a mixture of pride and relief, seeing the future she had hoped for becoming reality. We're releasing all our research data, she announced. Every discovery, every calculation, every theory. But the Nexus engine itself will be decommissioned. Some doors shouldn't be opened until we've fully explored the ones already before us. The decision rippled through the assembled beings like a wave of understanding. The Intrepid hadn't just been hiding a powerful technology. It had been protecting the galaxy from its own ambitions, waiting for a time when wisdom would prevail over the temptation of power. As the scientists began their work, carefully documenting the engine's secrets for peaceful adaptation, Admiral Chen turned to Araya's holographic form. "Did we make the right choice, old friend?" The AI's response came with the certainty of 50 years of contemplation. "We chose to trust in the potential for growth, in the capacity for different species to learn from each other. Looking at the galaxy today, I'd say humanity's greatest invention wasn't the Nexus engine. It was hope." The first sign of trouble came in the form of quantum distortions on the Intrepid's long-range sensors. Araya detected the anomalies milliseconds before the stellar Concordat's warships materialized from hyperspace, their sleek forms representing the pinnacle of modern coalition military technology. 6 Hyperion-class battlecruisers, Araya reported, her holographic form flickering with calculated combat scenarios. Energy signatures indicate weapon systems powered in shields at maximum. Their formation suggests they're executing a standard containment protocol. Admiral Chen stood on her bridge, now staffed by a mixture of her original crew and coalition observers. The chamber hummed with the same quiet efficiency it had displayed 50 years ago, every system responding to her presence with familiar precision. "This is Admiral Voss of the Stellar Concordat." A deep voice resonated through the command center. The Intrepid's technology represents a strategic asset that cannot remain under independent control. Surrender your vessel, and you will be treated with full diplomatic courtesy. Captain Lyanna Tell stepped forward, her diplomatic credentials ready for transmission. "Admiral Voss, the Intrepid falls under coalition protection. Your actions violate 17 separate provisions of the Species Integration Treaty." "The treaty didn't account for temporally displaced warships," Voss responded, his tone carrying the weight of practiced authority. "Our sensors detect active weapon systems that exceed modern safety protocols. We're initiating emergency containment procedures." The Concordat ships launched their first salvo, a web of quantum-tipped missiles designed to disable rather than destroy. Admiral Chen watched them approach with an almost serene expression, decades of combat experience evident in her calm demeanor. "Araya, execute Protocol Windweaver," she ordered quietly. "Let's show them why the Intrepid became a legend." The supercarrier's defense grid activated with artistic precision. Rather than simply intercepting the incoming missiles, the ship's point defense systems created a complex series of gravitational eddies. The missiles found themselves caught in a dance of forces that turned their own momentum against them. "Impossible," one of the coalition observers gasped. "Those countermeasures, they're adapting to quantum weaponry they couldn't have encountered before." "ARIA never stopped learning," Chen explained, watching as her ship performed maneuvers that should have been beyond its aging drives. She spent 50 years analyzing potential advances in military technology. Every system on this ship has been continuously refined, even while we slept. The Concordat fleet pressed their attack, bringing their superior numbers and modern technology to bear. Energy beams lanced through space, only to be diffracted by shield harmonics that seemed to anticipate each strike. The Intrepid moved with a grace that belied its size, each maneuver calculated to minimize energy expenditure while maximizing tactical advantage. "Their targeting systems are quantum-locked," Araya announced, implementing countermeasures based on theoretical models developed during hibernation. Fascinating to finally test these algorithms against actual combat data. Admiral Voss's frustration became evident as his fleet's coordinated attacks failed to penetrate the Intrepid's defenses. "That ship's technology is half a century old. How are they matching our most advanced systems?" "Because we never relied solely on technology," Chen responded, opening a channel to all ships. The Intrepid's strength was always in its crew's ability to think beyond conventional tactics. Araya learned it from us, and she's been perfecting it for 50 years. The supercarrier's response to the attack had demonstrated this philosophy perfectly. Instead of matching the Concordat's firepower, it used precisely calculated maneuvers to turn their own advanced weapons against them. Quantum-tipped missiles found themselves trapped in recursive temporal loops, while energy beams were reflected back to temporarily overload their sources. As the battle reached its climax, Chen presented the Concordat with an unmistakable demonstration of the Intrepid's capabilities and its restraint. The supercarrier positioned itself within firing range of all 6 battlecruisers, its weapon systems showing clear targeting solutions, yet holding their fire. "We could have ended this battle in the first 30 seconds, Chen declared. "Instead, we chose to demonstrate why forcing confrontations isn't always the best path to achieving one's goals. Now, shall we discuss this situation through proper diplomatic channels?" The Intrepid's main engineering bay bustled with activity as crew members from 2 different eras worked side by side. Admiral Chen's engineers collaborated with coalition specialists, their combined knowledge transforming the supercarrier systems in ways neither group could have achieved alone. The Concordat's quantum targeting systems are impressive, Lieutenant Commander Jackson observed, her hands dancing across a holographic interface. But they rely too heavily on predictive algorithms. "AI, show them what we discovered during the last engagement." The AI projected a detailed analysis of the battle, highlighting the patterns that modern ships had evolved to follow. Coalition tactical doctrine emphasizes efficiency through standardization. This creates exploitable rhythms in their attack sequences. Dr. Shen, who had chosen to remain aboard despite the growing crisis, watched in fascination as the engineering team began implementing their countermeasures. They weren't simply updating the Intrepid systems, they were creating hybrid technologies that merged old and new principles in unexpected ways. "Your shield harmonics," she noted, "they're adapting coalition quantum crystallography to enhance your original defense grid. That shouldn't be possible with your power distribution system." Chief Engineer Martinez grinned as he made another adjustment. "That's because we're not following standard power protocols. Araya suggested we modify our systems based on music theory rather than traditional engineering principles. The power fluctuations create resonance patterns that actually strengthen our shields." The innovation wasn't limited to defensive systems. In the fighter bay, mechanics were modifying the Intrepid's complement of aerospace craft with reverse-engineered coalition technology. The resulting hybrid fighters combined the raw speed of modern engines with the unprecedented maneuverability of human-designed control systems. Each fighter's neural interface has been calibrated to work with both human and non-human pilots, Arata had explained, her holographic form moving between workstations. The synthesis of different biological perspectives enhances tactical flexibility by 47%. Admiral Chen entered the engineering bay just as the team activated their latest modification. The entire ship hummed with a new resonance as power flowed through pathways that merged quantum principles with human intuition. "The Concordat won't expect us to adapt this quickly," she observed, studying the readouts. "They believe they have the advantage of superior technology. They forget that humanity's greatest weapon was always our ability to improvise." Coalition observers watched in amazement as the engineering team continued their work. Where modern ships relied on artificial intelligence to handle most functions, the Intrepid's crew demonstrated an intuitive understanding of their vessel that no computer could match. "Your people are modifying systems that took our best engineers years to develop," one of the observers commented. "How is this possible?" "Because we're not trying to improve them," Martins explained, gesturing to a hybrid console that displayed both coalition and human interface designs. "We're finding ways to make different technologies work together in ways neither side considered. It's not about whose system is better. It's about understanding how they can complement each other." The ship shuddered as long-range sensors detected another Concordat fleet approaching. But this time, the Intrepid was ready. Its hybrid systems had transformed the aging supercarrier into something entirely new, a testament to what could be achieved when different species and technologies worked in harmony. "All stations report ready," Araya announced, her voice carrying a note of satisfaction. "The shield modifications have increased our defensive capability by 312%. Weapon systems are operating at peak efficiency, and our fighters are showing performance metrics that exceed both original and modern specifications. Admiral Chen took a moment to appreciate the scene before her. Humans and aliens working together, past and present technologies merging to create something greater than the sum of their parts. This was the future she had hoped for when she chose to hide the Intrepid 50 years ago. "Send word to the Coalition fleet," she ordered. "Tell them we're ready to demonstrate why the Intrepid became legendary not for its technology, but for the creativity of its crew. And ARI. Let's show them what innovation really means." The Grand Assembly Hall fell silent as Admiral Chen concluded her presentation. The holographic display above showed the Intrepid's final transformation, a vessel that now symbolized the perfect fusion of past and present, of human ingenuity and Coalition technology. "The Stellar Concordats' attempt to seize our ship failed," Chen stated, her voice carrying across the chamber. "Not because our technology was superior, but because we demonstrated something far more valuable: the power of genuine cooperation." The evidence was undeniable. Footage showed the Intrepid's hybrid systems in action, its modified fighters dancing through space with impossible grace, while its enhanced shields shimmered with patterns that merged science and artistry. The Concordat fleet had withdrawn not in defeat, but in understanding. High Chancellor Vexterra's crystalline form resonated with approval. "The Coalition Intelligence Office has finished analyzing the technical data you provided. Your crew's innovations have already sparked a revolution in our approach to ship design. But more importantly, you've shown us that true progress comes from collaboration, not competition." Aria's holographic form materialized beside Admiral Chen, her presence now welcomed in the chamber that had once feared her capabilities. The Intrepid's mission was never about preserving technology, the AI explained. It was about preserving the potential for growth, for different species to learn from each other. The assembly watched as new images appeared. Coalition engineers working alongside the Intrepid's crew, sharing knowledge and perspectives that bridged the 50-year gap. Every innovation they created together proved more effective than anything either side had developed alone. Therefore, Chancellor Vexterra announced, the Assembly has reached a unanimous decision. The Intrepid will be recommissioned as a Coalition education vessel, with Admiral Chen and her crew serving as instructors for the next generation of space explorers. The chamber erupted in approval as Chen stepped forward to accept the commission. The supercarrier that had once vanished to preserve peace would now help build a stronger future through understanding. "The Nexus engine's principles are being studied," Dr. Shen added, joining Chen at the podium, "but only for peaceful applications. Already, we've found ways to use its dimensional theories to improve medical technology and clean energy production. The weapon it might have been has become a tool for healing." Captain Lyanna Tell, newly appointed as the Coalition's liaison to the Intrepid, shared the final part of their proposal. "The ship will visit every member world, its hybrid systems serving as a working example of what we can achieve together. The crew will include representatives from all species, learning not just from our technology, but from our different ways of thinking." Admiral Chen gazed across the assembly, seeing faces and forms that would have been enemies 50 years ago, now united in common purpose. "The Intrepid disappeared to prevent a war," she said softly. "It returned to help build a lasting peace, not through power or fear, but through the simple truth that we are all stronger when we work together." As the session concluded, Chen found herself in the ship's observation deck, watching Coalition vessels of all designs moving through space in perfect harmony. Aria's holographic form shifted beside her, displaying the stars as they had appeared 50 years ago, then as they looked now. "Was it worth it?" Chen asked her old friend. "The years we lost." "They weren't lost," Aria replied, her voice carrying the wisdom of decades. "They were invested in this future, a future where the Intrepid serves not as a weapon or a deterrent, but as a bridge between worlds, between generations, between different ways of seeing the universe." Outside, a group of young cadets from a dozen different species approached the Intrepid in a shuttle, ready to begin their training. They would learn about the ship's unique technologies, but more importantly, they would learn the principles that had guided its crew's choices. The understanding that true strength comes not from power, but from the wisdom to know how best to use it. The supercarrier that had once vanished to protect the galaxy now stood as a beacon of hope, its legacy not in the wars it might have won, but in the peace it helped to build. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, illuminating a future where innovation and cooperation walked hand in hand through the cosmic dawn.